Hello there, morning to you. It's Wednesday, the 12th of June 2019. Welcome to this morning's United Kingdom talk. I hope we have more success than we did yesterday morning when it all went a bit wrong. It may well have been the Windows update that appeared this morning to do, which was a bit of a long one. I started it. When I get up in the morning, one of the first things I do is turn on the computer that I use to broadcast with. And so that would have been around about 8 o'clock this morning. That was about 8 o'clock this morning. And I go and do my breakfast, come in here, put the password in, and up it comes. And the first thing I check for is Windows updates. Because often, if it starts trying to download something, like people have said, oh, you can turn it off. Believe me, I've turned it off, but it still seems to download the damn thing. Because if it starts happening while I'm doing a show, it throws everything out. It just completely ruins the whole damn thing. Doesn't happen at home. Only happens on this laptop. And as I was saying yesterday, there's an i5 processor in this laptop. The one at home's got an i7. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with that. Anyway, so it started doing its update around about 8 o'clock and didn't finish till, around about 5 to 10, actually. So that's why we're a little bit late this morning. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much to those of you that took the time and trouble to join us on our nighttime show last night. That was lovely. Lovely sitting here at night. I think we were here for almost 2 hours, about an hour and 3/4 in the end. We had some people ringing up. We had the lovely Roy Brownlow, who's a great talker on the phone. I have to say, always a good conversation with Roy Brownlow. The lovely Glenda from Pennsylvania called in last night. And also Ross Patout, who's not too far away from here in Norwich. And it was lovely to hear them last night. If you missed it last night and you want to see it again, depends where you are. If you're on my Facebook, just go down a little bit, down a couple of posts or so, and you should find it there. It'll say Tuesday night time or something like that. Or indeed on YouTube, if you want to type in YouTube on the search thing, United Kingdom Talk, Tuesday the 11th of June 2019, you can find it there. All right, my love, so a very good morning to you. I'm pleased to say the rain at the moment has stopped. I've just been outside the caravan. Sorry, I've just been outside our Lincolnshire television studio complex to find that the puddle, quite a deep puddle that had gathered behind the caravan yesterday has now soaked away. It's soaked away, so I'm not going to get wet feet this morning. I saw some people's, now where was it? Ingermoles. I think it was Ingermoles, which isn't a massive different distance from here. I think it's about 45 minutes to an hour's drive from here. Ingermole's caravan site is under some water, not over the top of the caravan. The caravans are still out of the water, but nevertheless, it looks like the whole area is very, very wet here. Pilgrim's Hospital in Boston, they had their car park and some lower areas of the building flooded yesterday. Boston's not too far from here, so an awful lot of rain yesterday, but as I say, very glad at the moment it seems to have stopped. I've got a little bit of a drive after the show today. I'm going down to see my my nephew's family. They're down at the hospice in Rainbow's Hospice, which is in Loughborough, which is about an hour and 20 minutes, about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes or so drive from here. So I'm going to see them today and have a little bit of lunch because they're staying down there at the moment. So busy. Right, who's with us today? Let's have a look. So it won't be a massively long show today, okay? Good morning to Mark Jones. Gets the first message in this morning. Morning, young Mark. Tommy Flynn is in the house. Morning, Tommy. Morning to you. Let's have a look. Diane Jebb. Hello, Diane. Michael Pullman in Australia. I've got some Australian news for you today, Michael. How excited are you? Oh, yes. This is a global programme, dear. It's not local. It's global programme, dear. Millions and billions of people all over the world watching as we speak and listening and joining in. It's all about the joining in. Morning, Michael. Sunil, good afternoon to you, Sunil. Christina Ewing is back in Germany, but back in Portsmouth at the weekend. You are jets. I hope it's always business class, Christina. I can't have my Christina flying in economy class at the back of those planes together with all the smells that gather. I'm sorry. You do. People say, why is it so smelly in economy? People say that to me. And that's because the plane is moving forward. Therefore, any smells that come all go to the back. It gets pushed backwards as it goes along. Oh, you must have gas. No wonder you got all those gas masks that fall down now and again in economy, dear. Ghastly people. Good morning, Christina. Hello to Adrian, who is in Marlow in Buckinghamshire. I used to drive past there when I DJ'd at a place called Rainbows in Coventry. That was up that, is it the M40? M40, then I went across and then come back down on the M4. So it was M4, then there was another road, like an A road, dual carriageway road, and then I think the M40. Is it the M40 to Birmingham? That's the way I go. And I'm sure I used to go past Marlow. Good morning, Adrian. Hello to the lovely LaBelle, who calls me this morning. Every morning she's got a new name for me. Today it's the Gingham Green-Eyed Casanova. LaBelle, will you stop it, love? No, don't. I love it. Morning, LaBelle. Hello to Mike Harneman. Good morning, Mike. All right, nice to see you there. Hello to Dukey. Dukey, Chris. Oh, Chris is dying of flu. Oh, come on, Chris. It's not flu, is it, love? You've got a cold. Oh, you've got man flu, which is always so much worse than normal flu that the ladies get. I know. Oh, not very well. Are you not at work? Are you not at work? Terrible, dear. You must go to work, dear. I can't believe it. Are you free Thursday next week, Chris? Or are you at work during the daytime? I'm not sure how well you're doing there, so that's nice to see you there, Chris. Now, I said to our friend Michael, I had some Australian news for you this morning. Australian news, boys and girls, and it's to do with Uber. There's a little bit more to it, okay? On the BBC business programme this morning, I saw about the Uber copters. These are flying cars, basically. Flying cars. And as a child in the 70s and the 80s, I was born 1963, so I suppose 60s, 70s and 80s. As a child, we all dreamed of getting to the year 2000 and we'd be flying around in these little cars. You know, we wouldn't have cars on the road. We'd be flying like the Jetsons. Do you remember the Jetsons? You get in a little car and it just flies to wherever you want. Fantastic. This hasn't happened yet. We're still waiting. But I don't think it's too far on the horizon now. I'm so excited by this. It says Uber on the BBC website this morning, which the BBC website, I'm pleased to say, will continue. And they've been able to pay for it because they're taking away the licences for the over 75s. Isn't that awful? I must admit, with that BBC free licences for the over 75s, in my humble opinion, I think if you've got a bit of money, then you should pay for it. I could afford a TV licence, okay? I have no problems paying for the TV licence if I've still got the money, and plus, hopefully, I will get into my over 75s, isn't it? You know, if you've got the money, I think you should pay for it. If people haven't got the money, then I think they should get it for free. Actually giving it to everyone because they're over 75 is a bit of madness, I think. And the same goes with the winter fuel allowance. In the winter, people over a certain age, I believe it's 65, I might be wrong with that, get, I think it's £200 a year. They get a one-off payment sometime in the winter of 200 quid, and that helps pay for their heating. Now, if someone's got £10 million in the bank, I do not understand why they are being sent the £200 or indeed given a free television licence. Okay? I just don't get that. What's the point of that? On the other hand, sometimes, and we've seen this with a lot of benefits, sometimes it's actually cheaper for an organisation or a government to simply give out the money to everyone over a certain age rather than start employing people to inquire whether or not they could afford it. So there is that as well to think about. But the TV licence, I think should be given to people who, I mean, there's a lot of old people out there, and the only thing they've got in their lives is that television in the corner. And if you're lonely, if you get lonely, it does help to have a television. I've been lonely myself, believe it or not. When I'm on my own, sometimes I get lonely. You put a good program on the television, then it soon, you know, takes your mind off it, you know, if only for an hour or so. It really does. So I think television is very, very important, certainly in older people's lives. And if they can't afford a license, they should damn well get one. It's disgusting. You know, disgusting that it should be taken away from people like that. Anyway, onto the BBC website. Here we go. Uber has said that Australia is to become the first international market for its flying taxi service, Uber Air. Now, I think this is where you are as well, Michael. I can't remember exactly where you are, but the firm has selected Melbourne as the third pilot city for its air taxi program, joining Dallas and Los Angeles. Test flights are due to start from 2020 with the aim of launching commercial operations from 2023. How exciting is this? At last, we are going to be able to get in a little taxi type thing and it will fly you to your destination. Oh my God. Now, if there's any chance, and also as long as it's not too expensive, you know, but if I could only do it now, not so much from up here, because the journey isn't too bad from up here to London, but I've told you so many times before, the journey from Bracknell, that's in Berkshire, over to King's Cross in London is a nightmare, whatever day of the week it is, because of the time I have to get there. If it was 9 o'clock at night, it might be different, but it's not. It's 6 o'clock at night, and it takes me 2 hours. If I could get an Uber taxi from Bracknell to King's Cross, it would be there in 40 minutes. And it will probably worth paying, I don't know, 50 quid for that. I'd have, because I could get that back of the tax man anyway. That would be a tax deductible item because I'm going to work. To explain, as you're self-employed, there are certain things that you can claim back off your tax bill. So, for example, if my tax bill last year, take a figure out of it, just take it, call it 100 quid, okay, just to give you a figure. If my tax bill for the year is £100, right, and I spend £60 on taxes, then I will only have to pay tax on £40. Get it? Just to explain it to you if you don't know how that works, right? So I could get an Uber. Of course, I'd have to get one back as well, though, wouldn't I? So that would be another 50 quid. Ooh. Maybe it's not such a good. I mean, you do have to show eventually that you are making some money. You can't like spend it all out on taxes. So I don't know if it would work the other way. Maybe I could get a. Oh, it could work out quite expensive, couldn't it? I'll have to just buy my own. I'll just buy my own helicopter. That's all there is to it. Where am I going to land that? in the beer garden upstairs. Anyway, it goes on. Test flights are due to start in 2020 with operations commercial by 2023. Several companies are developing flying taxis as a future mode of transportation. Uber said increased air mobility would help ease traffic congestion in cities. Well, I think the black taxis will be glad to see you up there and out of the way of the roads. I certainly will. At the moment, Uber are all like, they're all road-based things, aren't they? Mainly Priuses in London, and they're a bloody nightmare. They're an absolute nightmare. It says, as major cities grow, the heavy reliance on private car ownership will not be sustainable. Uber Air holds enormous potential to help reduce road congestion, and it does. And I'm sure they won't be the only people that do this. You know, you'll have other companies starting with their own little mini helicopter things. He said the 19-kilometre journey from Melbourne's central business district to the airport would take 10 minutes with Uber Air, down from up to an hour by car. Do you see what I mean? It's just, we waste so much time sitting in blooming traffic. We really do. Uber's working with NASA and the US Army on its flying taxis and has two aircraft manufacturers, Embraer and Pipistrel Aircraft, also on board. Last year, the company said it was open a laboratory in Paris to develop flying taxis. So, I mean, it's fantastic. It also says here, Uber is not the only company experimenting with flying taxis, reminiscent of the mode of transport in the American cartoon The Jetsons, which I mentioned to you earlier. Tech firms are competing to develop the first viable passenger-carrying sky taxis, while Airbus and a range of startups have also been testing self-flying taxis. Did you hear what I said there? Self-flying. You haven't got to do anything. Self-flying. Push a couple of buttons. I want to go to King's Cross. Push the button, off it goes. You've got to do nothing. No chance of you making a mistake in crashing it, because you won't be flying the thing. I love it. I love it. Dubai conducted its first test of a drone taxi service in 2017. Now, it doesn't say whether or not they're going to be electric or not. I can't see them being given permission to even start at all if they're going to be driven by oil of some form, you know, whether it be diesel or petrol or that or what's that, aviation fuel, which is all oil based. Although it does say here, separately, a firm funded by Google founder Larry Page has unveiled an electric self-flying air taxi that can travel up to 110 miles an hour. So there is an electric one that someone's bought out there. It doesn't say what Uber are going to do. Now, they already have an air service in New York, but they are basically normal helicopters. They don't look anything like, because I've seen a picture of these, what the inside of the Uber ones, which I'll come to in a moment. But in New York, 6 days ago, it says Uber's adding a regular helicopter air service to the heaviest users of its platform with Uber Copter. They're just like normal helicopters, okay? You need a bit of money if you want to travel in one of those. $200 and $225 a person. Includes car service to and from the helipad at each end. It says, the cost of an Uber ride for the same span in a car would be $70 to $90. So quite a jump up from that. But, you know, if you've got a bit of money and you don't mind spending it, then it's a quick way to get around, isn't it? By air. So they already have those going, Uber helicopters, called Uber Copter in New York at the moment. So I'll just come back to that story in a moment. Let's read some of your messages there, boys and girls. Just scroll back there a little bit. Hello to Ozma. Good evening to Ozma. A very good evening to you, Ozma. Duke is free next Thursday. Okay, I'll send you a message, Chris. I might ring you later. Okay, LaBelle, you don't know how difficult it is to come up with those names. Keep coming up with them, LaBelle. Keep coming up with them, my dear. All right? Hello to... sorry, just a moment. Now, what... Oh, sorry, what were we talking about? You think all old age pensioners should get license? Do you think so? Rather than people saying, well, hang on, if you can afford it, you pay for it. Is that what you're saying there? Craig, Gary Lineker, 1.75 million, a $3,000 of each top paid SARS would sort this. Yeah, you're so right, Craig. It's ridiculous paying these people. I could be on there. I'm happy to go on the BBC for just £50 a show. There you go. There's an offer they can't refuse. Let's just scroll down a bit there. Tommy, new police drama starts on ITV tonight at 9 o'clock. All set in Boston, in Lincolnshire. Is that right? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I look forward to seeing that on there. Over on YouTube, Joanna is in the house. Good morning, Joanna. There is a bit of an issue, I gather, on some of the YouTube. We got a message from the streaming company today, this morning, that there's a bit of an issue with some of the YouTube stuff at the moment, which is at the YouTube end rather than the streaming company. So we've got to wait for them to sort that out and see what happens. LaBelle Lonely, the man who can't stand company for more than 2 hours. It's true. It's absolutely true. All right. There we go. Duke says they are paid into the system for a very long time. That's pensioners in this day and age. What do they get back? Well, nothing, I'm afraid. Nothing. But I do think that, if people have got the money to buy certain things, even doctors now, I don't have a problem with a charge, because doctors have a really bad problem with people simply not turning up. their appointments, and people lie. People lie. They say also. I know people that lie. Believe me, to get their own way all the time. Lies and lies and lies. I'm sorry. Oh, and then they get the phone call. Why didn't you turn up for your appointment? I dropped a bottle of milk or something. A load of old crap. I mean, how many bottles of milk can you drop? The lies that come out of people because they can't get their own way is disgusting. Anyway, there we are. Back to this story. Uber Air. Now, in the Sun this morning, there are... Let me just clear my throat. In the Super Sorrow... Oh, good morning to Maureen joining us there on the text service. Very good morning to you, Maureen. Nice to see you turning up there. All right, my love. In the Sun this morning, they have a picture. So if you have a look at the Sun... I haven't got my Twitter thing here, have I? What is it? I tell you what, I'll paste that in to the message board on Facebook. I'm sorry if you're on YouTube, you won't be able to see that. There you go. Or maybe I can type it into the YouTube one. One minute. Let's try that. Gonna just try something. Oh, it might not work. No, I don't think it's gonna work, is it? Hang on. Why can't I left click on that? Let's try again. Ooh. No, that won't work. There you go. There is a picture of this flying Uber thing, which I think is fantastic. It says, Uber has revealed the first design for the cabin of its Uber Air flying taxis. It's the first time we've glimpsed what Uber's vision for aerial ride sharing might actually look like. So basically, it looks like it's got... Its wings are like that, okay? Right, you know, like a normal plane. But on top of the wings are like fans. Like small helicopter rotors. But they look more like fans than helicopter rotors, I've got to tell you. Now, the story says the so-called air taxis do look like helicopters and will jet paying passengers across and between cities in minutes. Inside the Uber Air cabin, there are 4 passenger seats arranged in a 2x2 formation. Ian LaBelle, have you been in one of the Uber Air taxis yet? Only $300, was it $200? Something like that? Inside the Uber Air cabin, there are 4 passenger seats arranged in a 2x2 formation. There's also a row for luggage space behind the second row of seating. Light strips give the interior a sci-fi blue aesthetic, and thankfully there are seatbelts. Actually, you know, you'd be surprised. I don't know if you've ever been on a helicopter. You would be surprised how smooth they are. I mean, really. Really. You know when you go on those little planes and you get, like, oh, it starts bumping like that. And you're going to be sick any minute now, aren't you? Well, it's not like that on a helicopter. I've been on 1, 2, I think 3 helicopters, if I remember rightly. And I can't honestly say any of them were bumpy in any way. Okay, they move quickly, but they're very, very smooth helicopters. You don't feel bumpy at all in those. Not like in the little planes. If you've never been on one, try it. They've got some lovely little things you can go across London. Various companies doing helicopter rides across London or indeed wherever you are. You've got New York, Las Vegas, they're all doing them. It says that there's no sign of a minibar or toilet. Oh my God, no toilet. Shock horror. Well, you're not on the thing long enough to worry about that. There's no toilet in a taxi. Remember that. But the Uber Air is only designed for short trips that will take under an hour. Uber is building the future of aerial ride sharing, the company explained. In 2023, Uber plans to give riders the option of an affordable shared flight, which I said to you earlier on. They also say Uber taxis will be safe, quiet and environmentally conscious. So, again, I can't see anywhere where it might say Uber are going to do they're going to be electric. I don't know if these are going to be electric or not. Of course, the argument then is, well, where are you getting the electricity from? Is it coming from a coal-fired power station? Well, hopefully not in the future. You know, all electricity in the future, presumably, will be made by some sort of wind turbines, solar power, water power, indeed a combination of all these different ways of making electricity without actually having to burn any coal or gas or anything like that. In fact, I did see a story, I don't think I had it here actually. Let me have a look. Oh, yes, I did. I did see a story as well linking to that whole electricity thing. Again, on the BBC website this morning, that greenhouse gas emissions in the UK will be cut to almost zero by 2050. How old will you be then? 2050. Let's say 29, 17, 27, 37, 47. 50. So it's 33. So it's 50, 60, 70, 80, 70. I'll be 89 then. 18. I hope I see that. I hope I'm there to see that. How blooming wonderful that people will be watching the news on that day, on a day in 2050, and the announcement will come. This is the first day we have achieved to make all our electricity with zero carbon output. Just imagine that announcement coming on the telly. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Poor LaBelle can't afford a regular Uber. Oh well. Unlucky, darling. Well, all those club works you're doing, you must be able to. I bet you're rolling in money, dear. All those people coming up and shoving a couple of dollars down your bra. Or your knickers, depending on how short the skirt is. I might try and wear a skirt myself. Perhaps you could dress me up. If I come to New York, LaBelle, you can do me up as a woman. And then I'll go out and see if I'm any luckier at pulling then. What do you reckon? Hello to Peter Lake joining us this morning. He's just up the road. Terrible weather. We just had a couple of days. Going to stop raining all day. Didn't stop raining all day Monday or Tuesday. Very windy as well. Rain, rain, rain. It brightens up today in Woodall Spa from Peter Lake. Good morning to you, Peter. Mike says, I prefer Uber these days. Find them better than the other taxis. Yeah, unless you're a driver, mate. If you're driving on the road, down that Euston Road, and you're surrounded by Uber drivers, they are an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare, mate. Mike says, don't get me started on doctors. My granddad had to have one of them stress tests. What's that, a stress test? I don't know what that is. It's nearly killed him. He's been struggling really bad, and he's got to take a number of tablets for certain issues anyway. Yeah, I have tablets. Oh, I've had my tablets this morning. I think I have. Yeah, I've had my tablets this morning as well, which actually made him worse, did it? Oh, it added up, giving him more problems to add to the million already has. What, the tablets? I don't think tablets are the answer. I think the doctors give out tablets left, right and centre, don't they? No, certainly with people with depression, I don't think tablets are the answer. I really don't. I know a lot of people that have gone down the whole doctor route. I had depression for years and years and years, and I went to see someone. Not tablets. I went to see someone, and for 6 months I went to and from this place, which was actually part of a hospital. And that sorted me out. I basically wanted someone to listen. I know that sounds stupid. But you often find when you're talking to people, they're not actually listening. And I got a little bit fed up with that sort of thing, really. You know, sometimes, you know, whether it's a phone call or talking to someone face to face, and you're talking to them, and then they come back with something completely different. You think, you haven't listened to a bloody word I've said. And I think it's a bit like that when you're depressed. No one's listening. You suddenly think to yourself that no one's listening. But by going to see someone who, let's be honest, is paid to listen to you, but she obviously knew what she was doing, and that sorted me out. But the whole tablet thing, you know, or have a happy pill. No, I think that's all wrong. Maybe I was lucky with that one. Let's have a look. LaBelle, for some of us, drag isn't what paid the bills. If I told you why I started drag, it wouldn't be exciting at all. Yeah, it's the same with radio over here, actually, now. With a lot of we were saying on the show last night, lots of radio DJs have now lost their paying jobs. They can get back on the radio, but they will need another job to support them. A little bit like me before I became a DJ back in the early 80s. I was doing some DJing, but it didn't pay much, really. So I had a normal job. I was, first of all, a telephone operator, and then a British Telecom engineer after a while. And that paid for me to do my DJing job, if you see what I mean. I'm sure it's the same for you, LaBelle, in that case. So you're doing another job so that you can do drag. Do you see what I mean? But if you're really lucky, you've got to be good at it, and not just good at it. It's right place at right time. You know, I've come across a lot of fantastic singers over the years at my karaoke nights. There's a couple now, actually. But they probably won't get anywhere simply because they're not in the right place at the right time. That's how it works. It's not how good you are. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, otherwise, you need another job to support what you love. It's like doing this now. If I didn't have a job or some other income coming in, I wouldn't be able to do this. But luckily I have, and I can do something I love with just a fraction of the money to do this, really. A fraction. All right. The stress test is either where you're on the running machine or the bike to get your heart rate up. But for someone who always had heart issues, it's crazy. Yeah, it is. Funnily enough, Mike, I've got this app. I've got an app on my iPhone here. Shall I do it now? It's a heart rate thing. Usually I can get, sometimes I wake up in the morning, my heart rate is like 48. Honestly, when I go to bed, it's usually around 53, okay? I have a very low heart rate, and that's probably because last time the doctor said, do you do a lot of exercise? And I'm like, yes. I go swimming most days, cycling, walking. He said, that's right, why your heart rate is so low. But they still connected me to this machine to check everything was all right, and it was. But I often do this. I can't find it now on here. Where is it now? Here is it, heart rate. Now, at the moment, I'm quite up. Do you see what I mean? No, I haven't taken happy pills. I'm quite up at the moment. I'm chatting away to you. Can I use the term buzzing? I'm buzzing when I do this show. I'm buzzing. So presumably, my heart rate will be a lot higher now than it usually is. As I said to you, around about 53 just before I go to bed. Last night I was watching a telly and I did it and it was 56. At the moment, that's a lot higher now. Just a moment now, and I'll show it to you. Well, still not massively high. Oh, hang on. Now I've got an advert for the harvester. Have you been to a harvester before? Yeah, don't like it. Bye-bye. Hang on a minute. Oh, I can't close that. Why can't I close that? Shall I do it again? Oh, Christ, look. That's gone wrong now, that has. Oh, there it is. Oh, no. I'll do it again. I don't know if I can do it while you're there. Hang on a minute. Let's close that. Instant heart rate, it's called. It's free. Is that going to work like that? Can that see my heart rate? Is that detect? There we go. Right, can you see that? There we are. That's detecting my heart rate now. It's stopped. Can't see. I'll just try another finger. There we go. Try that one. Nope, I'm dead. There it goes. It's found it. There you go. No, it hasn't. See, it's just awkward to hold it backwards, really. Is that going to work now? Oh, something's coming up. Oh, come on. Oh, it's not 131, for God's sake. I'll try once more. Let's actually, let's get it going while it's down on my lap. Then I'll pull it across to you and you can see. Yeah, it's got that now. Look, see the little detectors. Okay. So there we are, 73. It must be the way I turn my head round or my arm round. It's not picking it up at all. It always works. Just before I showed it to you, I did it, and it was 63. I'll try it once more. Last time, hang on a minute. Have anyone got this heart rate thing? If you have, do it now and let's see what yours is. Go on, do it now. I'm going to do mine again now. I'll put it on there. It's got to be the way I'm holding my arm. Oh, there we go. It's seeing it now. 76, 75. It's saying 75. Right, hang on a minute. I'm going to move that around quickly. You can see it out now, okay? You can just about see there. 74, 72. No, that's going down there. That's going down because it's lost the connection with my finger. As I say, it must be the way I'm moving my arm there. But yeah, around about 74, 75 now. Usually, so that's about 20 more than it usually is. My guess is that's because I'm so up at the moment while I'm chatting away to you doing this thing. Yeah, LaBelle, right place at right time. I've had several jobs. Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, but you'll always be in work, dear. That's the thing. If you can do lots of different jobs, presumably, have you worked in a shop? I've worked in a shop years ago. Worked in a shop, checkout operator, director inquiry operator, all sorts of things I've done. Not massive amount of things, but you should always have a job. People who have only got one trade, it's very worrying. Ross Patzelt, who called in yesterday, was talking about these radio DJs who are now all out of jobs. And that's all they've ever done. The only thing they've ever done is be a radio DJ. Now they've got to find other jobs because the radio jobs are not there anymore. It's not a case of them applying to that one. No, there are no jobs to apply to. It's terrible. They only have one job. Probably very good at that job, but now no one wants them. Awful, awful. John says, since my heart operation last year, my heart is now ticking like a well-oiled machine. Are you really? Thank you. Let's have a look. Wild Pete. Was that the programme that was mentioned a little while ago? Yeah, that's on something about the Boston police, isn't it? Mike, it depends on other factors too, depending on what you're doing, on how you're feeling. If you're pumped for a show or whatever, that's why it's so high at the moment. So high. So high. That's what it is. Okay. On the same sort of subject of electric taxis, which we were just talking about there, as I say, on the BBC website now, it says the greenhouse gas emissions in the UK will be almost cut to zero, they're hoping, by 2050 now. Prime Minister Theresa May, she's still there for another couple of weeks, said reducing pollution would also benefit public health and cut NHS costs. Well, of course it will. People aren't breathing all those awful... Again, I mentioned the Euston Road. Have you ever walked down there during the daytime? Coughing and spluttering all the time. It's awful. Awful. It says Britain is the first major nation to propose this target, and it's been widely praised by green groups. I think it's excellent. Some, of course, say it's too late to protect the environment. Yeah, well, you could well be right there. I personally think we have gone too far now and we can't recover from that. But we can try, we can try. The actual technology used by the government is net zero greenhouse gases by 2050. That means emissions from homes, transport, farming and industry will have to be avoided completely, in the most difficult examples, offset by planting trees or sucking CO2 out of the atmosphere. It says, how will it affect people? It says, if ministers decide to clamp down on meat eating or flying, that would meet serious opposition. But the government will attempt to make the clean revolution as painless as possible. Technology improvements like LED light bulbs, for example, save emissions without people noticing. I mean, you don't notice there's a different bulb in there anymore. You might have done at first, but I bet you've got used to it now, haven't you? I changed all my bulbs to LED when they were £10 each. These bulbs were £10 each when they first came out. And I went out and changed all my lights immediately. Saved an arm and a leg on the electric bill as well. You know, you go from like a 100-watt bulb to like a 5 or 10-watt bulb. Massive difference. It says, the same is true if people get hydrogen central heating. I've never heard of such a thing, have you? Hydrogen central heating. Did you know that? Well, you can. The same is true if people get hydrogen central heating instead of gas, or if they are obliged to drive electric cars rather than petrol cars. Now, the electric car thing is coming along slowly, isn't it? It's not there yet. It's coming along slowly. I think one of the things with electric cars is that you need somewhere to charge it. Now, I wanted an electric car on my car change this time around. Not possible. And I'll tell you why. To charge your car, you've got to have a good, powerful socket nearby. Okay? My house has a garage, but the garage is not near the house. It's in a block of garages. And that would mean either having an electrical installation in the garage. Now, my neighbour had that priced. Anything up to £5,500. Yes, that's simply to have a socket or a supply put in your garage, because we don't have supplies in there. Can't charge it from the house because that would involve a very long cable coming out of my house, going past 3 neighbours, across a pavement, and then hopefully, if I can get the car parking space next to the row of houses, but normally you can't get it. Similarly, here up at the caravan, I could have a wire plugged into one of the sockets in the caravan and out the window. That would be okay, except caravans don't have the same amount of electricity coming into them as you do in a house. In fact, if I plugged a car in, then I wouldn't be able to use any other electrical items at all in the house while it was charging. Not fun in the winter. Can't put a heater on. So the charging thing just isn't there yet. It's not that, it's all very well saying, oh, why don't you just go to a garage and plug in there? Well, that's very inconvenient. So what you're going to do, just drive up to the garage, using electricity to get there, then plug it in and sit in there for an hour. No, not going to happen. But they're working on it. That will come, the electric cars. I'd never heard of the hydrogen central heating. I'm going to look that up. But there's a massive investment in clean energy generation, and that has to be funded by someone. The government hasn't yet spelt out the cost. Will fall on bill payers or taxpayers or the fossil fuel firms that have caused the climate damage. So there it goes on. So that is commendable. That if they're going to try and do that, okay, it's not early enough, but it's a step in the right direction. A lot of people want things done now. Sometimes it's just not possible to do it like that. Mike says most of the radio stations down this way has closed down. It's a great shame, Mike. We were doing this thing. I don't want to do it again now because we did quite a long time on that. Have a look at last night's show. I think probably the last 20 minutes of last night's show, and Ross Patzelt called up and we were talking about that yesterday, how just about 3 or 4 companies now have bought up all the small radio stations, sacked all the DJs and are networking everything. Massive shame. Good morning to Gary Butler. There's my nephew, Gary. I'm going down to see him later. I should be leaving straight almost immediately after doing the show today, Gary, all right? Within half an hour of doing the show. So what time do you want me down there, Gary? That's where I'm going today. What time is lunch? Have I got to be there for lunch? Is that 12 or 1 o'clock lunch? I'll have to put my foot down. Don't want to miss lunch, dear. You get free lunch down there and everything, I think. I might be wrong there. Let's have a look. John's just walking down the Uxbridge Road. I start coughing. It's terrible around here. Most of London is like that, I'm afraid. It's not a pleasant experience to walk around London during the daytime, let alone at night. And at night, you're frightened to get stabbed, aren't you? Yeah, Mike's done it for 8 years from home on my station. Have you? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of internet radio stations around. Like I was just saying to LaBelle, anyone can now have a radio station. You can either or you can either go and do a show for one of the many excellent community stations, and the talent goes from fantastic to awful. But it doesn't matter. It's a community radio station. They're doing their thing. Or if you don't want to leave the house, you can go on one of the thousands and thousands of internet radio stations. Anyone can do a radio show now, including those people that have just been sacked. The difference is you won't get paid. You've got to look at it now as a hobby. Or is it 12 o'clock? Oh, I better get going, Gary. I'll ring you. I can cut my time in which I get there. Okay, right, I better wrap up there, otherwise I'm going to miss my lunch down at the place. Let's do today's birthdays, boys and girls. Happy birthday on this, Wednesday the 12th of June 2019 to my very, very good friend, Eric Wiltshire. He runs a little radio station, a radio network actually, in Slovakia, RTI. I did do a show from him some years ago now it was. But Eric Wiltshire, lovely chap, really very nice man. Happy birthday, Eric. I'm pleased to have you as a friend. Kim Cook today is 56 years old. She is one of our lovely Manilow ladies. Good morning, Kim. Happy birthday to you. And Mystique Notes, a very happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, boys and girls. All right, that's it for the show today. Thank you very, very much for joining us, gang. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to talk to you. And as I say, you know, there's the proof. My heart rate is the proof that I do actually enjoy doing that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, would we? Would we? Have a lovely day, boys and girls, and I'll hopefully see you again at some time tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye now.